Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and we survived Lockdown Mark 2. We're still here, we're still open, but gotta be honest, we really need you to come and buy some comic books. So how about we tell you which one's cool at the moment? This one, Welcome Dead. It's another from Aftershock Comics, and it's by a creative team which I'm, the writer I'm definitely familiar with. There are a few things they've done, I've quite enjoyed them. Artist, not so much, but the style is something I really enjoy. It's not gone for full photorealism, but it's not gone for like really over the top comic book stuff either, because it's dealing with kind of human stories. And the story is of a stand-up comedian trying to get a career off the ground. And weirdly, just due to random like people that I know a stand-up comedian who has actually gone through that and started doing like open mic stuff, just trying to put together an act together. And by the end of it, was like comparing the comedy tent to a massive music festival. So he actually did really well. Sadly, he doesn't do it anymore. He like moved on and is working in computer game design, what have you. But it was still really nice to like have a bit of a basis for this kind of thing. And the fact I also quite enjoyed a few of the stories and TV shows about comedians starting, and like a lot of them seem to be written by comedians, so they know what they're talking about. I kind of take them as being vaguely authentic. And that involves an awful lot of standing around, trying to tell jokes, trying to get the timing right, and trying to get the exact thing right, and people not enjoying it. This is summed up very well in this comic book, because weirdly, you don't ever get a joke. What you get is lots of scrawly writing of symbols, and then a punchline, which is usually an emoji. And they do a very nice 2-page spread of him trying these things over the course of the night, and literally you just get the punchline, penis, people want to do show, and then the various things about how badly he fails, including a bag full of dildos. It's a cool little take on it, and then finally, like the next page over, he actually gets a couple of laughs, and it's like, oh my god, he's so happy about it. And yeah, that's kind of cool. And it's not just that that's what's going on. You get the sense, well, you don't get a sense. You're pretty much told there's like a whole bunch of backstory there we're not getting quite yet. He's 21 and still lives with his sister, who actually has a job and pays the rent and everything like that. It sounds like he's either still at college or just graduated, and he's trying this because his parents, specifically his mother, was also really into stand-up comedy, and she's no longer with him. Like neither of his parents are. So it's kind of like a way for him to connect to the past. You don't really get much more other than that in terms of his past. You don't know what happened to his parents or anything like that, other than the fact that they, had a good enough insurance policy that they paid for his college. It's kind of like a nice little take on just people being people, though, and I like it. There's a nice shot of his bedroom, which I must say was a little bit cliched, but I quite enjoyed it. Poster of the Blues Brothers and Bill Hicks on the ceiling. And honestly, I was looking to see if I can find a Kevin Smith movie poster in there as well, because he just felt like that's the kind of like vibe that we're going for, which is not a bad one. It's like there's a reason it's cliches. A lot of people do that kind of stuff. A lot of stand-up comedians have posters that icons on the walls, and they've got like covers of Rolling Stone magazine of their favorite people. That kind of makes sense to me. It's not necessarily the most inventive bit of writing, but it's bloody good fun to watch, and kind of like you get all the little jokes in there, and you can drag it all out. The fact that you don't actually get jokes in it, I thought that'd annoy me at first. I recently read Dying is Easy by Joe Hill, which is outstanding. And that was actually really funny. It's surprisingly funny. Joe Hill, horror writer and fantasy writer, doing comedy and actually doing a really good job of it, like genuinely writing stuff down that his characters were saying. It was making me laugh out loud, and that was great. Very rare that kind of thing happens, especially like as a comedian. Sometimes you can have funny bits in comic books, and that's cool, without them being comedy books. But actually just having jokes on the page and still making me laugh, that was pretty impressive. Because this one kind of framed it as like not bothering to try and do that, it was just like, let's just have the story. Let's have everything about the character rather than what the jokes actually saying are. I think that worked really quite nicely. It meant I wasn't like pulling apart that kind of thing. I didn't have to have the comedy as a part of it. I could just enjoy the story, and the story is pretty cool because there's like the twist in the tail, as there quite often is. And I don't really want to get too much into it, but literally there's a guy with a skull instead of a head on the front cover, so chances are he's going to die. Yeah. And when you did like coming up next bit, that tells you quite a bit more. So I don't going to say there's any spoilers here. He literally dies, comes back, but he's not really alive. Like he has no heartbeat, and his life gets quite weird after that. And apparently there's going to be some kind of like afterlife pact with some spirit that's come back with him to try and help both of them have a chance of getting a comedy career off the ground. And it's like, yeah, okay, that sounds kind of cool. If they can maintain the quality of the art, the quite cool page layouts, and to be honest, of like really good writing, and don't worry too much about the jokes, I think this could be a really good comic book. certainly it's the best one of these that I've read. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but some of the stuff either has been more crime focused, and that's not really my cup of tea. So having just a kind of weird supernatural ghost thriller comedy thing is kind of cool and interesting. Definitely not what I was expecting, but I really enjoyed it. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll be back tomorrow with a review. Bye. Alexa, play.